Like, think about it. Cam Thomas puts up 23.5 points. Okay, Giddey puts up what, 16 to 18, but you're also getting 6 to 8 assists per game from that. If you
6 to 8 rebounds, yeah.
Yeah, if you're accounting just 2-pointers on those 6 assists, that's an extra 12 points a game that he's generating through his offensive play.
And half of them in today's game were threes, so you could,
Exactly. Yeah, now you're looking at borderline maybe 17 to 20 plus more points he's generating in offense just from playmaking on top of that 16 to 18 he's putting up a game. Yes, he's more valuable than Cam Thomas. I don't think anybody's debating that, though. I mean, that's not a knock on Cam. That's just Josh Giddey's a better overall player currently. You can't take away 18, 8, and 8 compared to 23, 3, and 3. That's very different.
Breezy, we got Breezy here. Shout out Breezy. Do a little commercial, and I know you want to get in on this. Tell us why we're wrong, and that Cam Thomas should get $25 million.
Oh nah. Well, y'all can follow me on Big Fan Breezy on YouTube and X. My soliloquy more the teammate aspect of it. The business side, I do more listening. You know what I mean? I wish they square it away and, so we could see them actually play basketball together. I want my soliloquy to be, I don't want Cam Thomas on this team because he's not a good fit with these rookies. Or I want Cam Thomas on this team because he is a good fit on these rookies with the rookies. So I kind of want the offseason, not the rush, but I kind of want to see the basketball being played between the rookies. The whole thing about what he should get, I don't really want to see him get low balls because to Dylan's point, Sean Marks hasn't paid anybody adequately. You know what I mean? He probably overpaid Claxton. He overpaid Joe Harris. He overpaid players and he underpaid players. The only person who probably got the most accurate contract is Kevin Durant. Outside of Kevin Durant, I can't think of anybody where they were just accurate. Like, yeah, he deserves that money because of his productivity and yada, yada, whoop-de-whoop. So that's more of what I'm saying. Like, I'm listening to y'all, you know what I mean? Shout to y'all, you know what I mean? I see the pod growing. I see, you know what I mean? Y'all putting in the work. So shout to y'all, man. I enjoy the podcast. I'm not here necessarily to debate the money. I just wish that they could find common ground. And yeah, I don't want to see him get lowballed. But more to my point though, Gary, I want to see them play basketball. And I don't want to see him get traded before he ever get a chance to play basketball with the rookies. That's more what I'm against. You know what I'm saying? I'm against that. No,
that makes sense, and I agree. Like I've said throughout this entire process, I have wanted Cam Thomas back. My initial offer that I would have been happy with at the start of free agency was 3-year team or player option at around $20 million a year. That I would have been more than okay with, because you're not breaking the bank. You're also setting that contract up to expire for when the 2027 offseason comes. I'm more than okay with that. You know what I mean? But now you're 26 days into free agency. Not a single person has offered him a contract. Not a single person has shown interest in offering him a contract, and no other team has the cap space to do so. When you wait this long trying to gain money for yourself, and it's not working and teams are dwindling of interest, your price goes lower, because now you've put yourself in a position where you have no say in what you want because nobody else wants you. And that's why now my offer is around, you know what? Give him a 2-year deal straight up, no options, at $15 million a year. If that's the offer that he takes, I'm fine with that, because again, it lines up with the 2027 offseason.
Go ahead, let me respond, Bruce. I want to hear, because me and Dylan are just going to echo each other here. So let me hear from you, Breezy.
I mean, yeah. I want him to ink. I want ink the paper so that way we could focus on what he looks like with the rookies. Until then, it's going to be this big mess about how much he get paid. But do I agree with Dylan? Should he ink the deal to 2027? Sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not big on the money, but I did feel $6 million doesn't benefit anybody. The qualifying offer doesn't benefit anybody, because if he decides to stay, he don't, but like a no trade clause, and then you know what I mean. And it'll just be more fans, players, coaches in the front office going to be disgruntled. So nobody wants to be where they not wanted. You feel what I'm saying? So I didn't necessarily want him to take the qualifying offer. And now I don't, based on, and this is not contingent on the stats PPG that he just mentioned, the rebounds. This is more the games played. All of the accolades that he possibly could have got, it could have only been one season because you have to play 65 plus games to receive any of this. So he has one season out of 4 seasons, you know what I'm saying, that he played over 65 games. So, I think that goes against him with his negotiations, So, again, like I said, I want Cam Thomas and his camp, too, to kind of get past it, too, to kind of focus on basketball because, in my opinion, him being 23 years old, this isn't the last time that he can have a big contract. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be other opportunities where he can get a big contract. And I kind of want him to, you know what I mean, go forward knowing that this isn't the end all be all. Like, I can still get big money in the NBA if I don't sign right now. And, it's unfortunate because I think the NBA is watching other free agents that might want to come here and they seeing how they handling the situation with Cam Thomas. So I don't want, talent that could really help us become a championship roster. Look at Joe Tsai, Sean Marks, and frown upon the way they do business. You feel what I'm saying? Because ultimately, it isn't all about Cam Thomas. It's about the perception of how, KD jumped out and said, fire the head coach and the GM if you want me back. That's just a bad look. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, I want us to be looked at through a different lens. And I think them handling this contract the right way is going to be, or however they handle this contract, is going to be steps in either of those directions. So I just want it to be amicable for both Cam Thomas and the front office. And right now, I don't know. I feel like we had a stalemate, and you know what I mean? Cam Thomas deleted all his IG content. A fan like me, it bothered me as soon as I heard about it. Then I didn't even want to believe it. I went to go check for myself, and then I seen it, and it was just like, damn, you know what I mean? So I'm at a perplexed situation as a fan, you know what I mean? Because I kind of want him to get the most he could get, but I understand the best thing for him to do is just take the highest off of the Nets is giving you. And my thing is, to Dylan's point, it's a team option, right? So the Nets have the advantage, you know what I'm saying, in that situation with it being a team option. Maybe the only thing that I would say they could see if they could finagle a player option. If they could maybe finagle the same deal with a player option, I would be more likely to say, you know what I mean? I still want him to take the deal with the team option, but maybe he could work something out where he gets a player option with that said deal. And I don't know. I don't think the money will change. I don't think he makes $20 million.
Let me get your thoughts on this, because I thought the contract that the Nets offered him was as close to an insult as possible without directly insulting him, right? We lost Breezy. I wanted his take on that. Shoot.
I was going to say, he may be at work. He may have had to pop off.
Okay. I thought the contract was as close to an insult as it could possibly insult her. You know, it's like tippy toeing on the lineup, especially with the team option, not the player option for the year. It's like, if we want you back at $14 million, then we can exercise the right to bring you back at $14 million. To me, it's borderline disrespectful, and I wanted. It's just Breezy's not here. I wanted your take on that.
What, that the initial contract?
Yeah, it is a contract. It's not directly insulting, but it's borderlining on insulting. It's like it's yeah.
I mean, is it insulting? Maybe to him, but is it insulting in the sense that what the market currently looks like, what the offers currently look like? It's like, what do you want? You want to make, $6 to $8 million on the qualifying offer this year, or do you want to make $14 million?
When they offered that to him, did you think that he was going to sign? Was there any possibility that he may sign it?
I mean, we saw a similar situation with Nick Claxton where he did sign it. So,
but Nick Claxton was given the same contract basically that Detroit offered him.
No. I'm talking the year prior when, or 2 years prior when he took on the 2-year deal for right. It was like what, 11 to 12 million. It was like a mid-level exception, and he took that offer. He played out the 2 years. He, improved as a defender, and he got paid. It's like a similar situation with that. But again, this is where I have the There are certain players who will work for it, and there are certain players who are arrogant enough to think they deserve it now.
To me, it's like buying
Who you talking about? DeJounte Murray?
No.
It's to me, that offer that they made to him was like buying a girl in a dress like 10 sizes too big for her here, or buying her a bra that's an A cup. It's like, this is what you think I am? Like it's borderline like well, I don't know. Is this not right? Like, it's borderline insulting without directly insulting her, right? Like,
Gary, can you say the example again? That was my wife. I had to answer that or die.
Yeah, I got you. All right, so the contract the Nets offered him, the 2-year contract with the player extension, with the team option, to me is borderline insulting. You know he's not going to sign it. You know there's no chance, and it's saying we want an option to bring you back at $14 million next year if we think you're worth it. Like, that's borderline insulting, is it not?
Yeah. I mean, listen, again, the whole thing is being technical. The negotiations is built on the numbers. It's not about his quote unquote high character. They didn't say, oh, we seen you hold that lady hand across the street. No, it's numbers. And he only had 1 year. We played over 65 games, and that year he didn't become an all-star. Cam Thomas does not have leverage to negotiate it. As one of his biggest fans, I'm saying that he just doesn't have leverage to negotiate. If he had all 4 seasons over 65 games, maybe and just maybe made one all-star game or one NBA, you know what I'm saying, all NBA team, then yeah, I will be, you know what I mean, yelling to the high heavens, pay this man more money. But realistically, the way the business is, he should just take it and ball out.
I agree.
I think it is disrespectful. Yes, I think he should get more, but just not what I think. Just the reality of it ain't the deal. You know what I'm saying? Ain't the deal. Let's play some basketball. Let's see Cam Thomas in preseason with the rookies. Let's see him. You know what I mean? And see what happens.
That if you take the 2-year deal, if you take the deal that was offered, which is the $14.1 million 2-year team option, you can get extended. Like, the following season, if you play up to par and you exceed the expectation of that $14 million, they can extend you to where after that final year of the $14 million is up, you can get paid what you wanted, right? Like, they can extend you mid-season and you could start getting paid the money that you wanted the following season to start 2027. But that's the thing. And even if it doesn't work out, they can decline his team option and send him to unrestricted free agency. They can accept the team option and they can trade him to a team that's going to value him more. Either way, he's getting paid more than what the qualifying offer is. And say that he does have another season this year where he's injured, he doesn't show any forms of improvement, his efficiencies still look below league average, then you're looking at the same situation as you were in this year. So I think that I don't know if this is on his end or on his agent's end, and I said this yesterday when we were talking about this, but his representation is horrible. They're putting him in such a bad position to where he is going to get screwed long term if he doesn't take something now.
Yeah, I don't want him to be pegged as this difficult player to deal with. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him to have that rapport around the league. I kind of want him. I mean, because I feel like he dealt with the New York media as best as a rookie could. You know what I'm saying? And I just want him to keep a good rapport as a professional. It's one thing to be an athlete. Yeah, he's an athlete, but I want him to be represented. I mean, I want him to have a good rapport as a professional as well, not just a athlete. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I want to see him do good business. I do. I really do.
All right, I do want to, Breeze. You got a few minutes. You can hang on with us.
Huh?
Breeze. Yeah, I said you good. You got a few minutes. You can hang on. You can hang around with us.
Yeah,
you gotta go. Yeah,
I'm just cool. On mute, so y'all don't hear no background noise.
Perfect. All right, Dale, I want to get into some of these trade propositions. Where could we trade him to? We talked about Memphis. We talked about Detroit. We talked about a few other teams. Kind of break us down and let's look at what we might be able to get in return.
Yeah, I mean, the two teams that I'm linking him to, just again, based on my past with trying to predict things and seeing what certain teams need, the two teams that make the most sense as of right now is Memphis and Detroit. There have been Jaden Ivey rumors just about Detroit in general, potentially looking to move him. There's no specific links to him and Brooklyn or vice versa. That's more so just on my end trying to put 2 and 2 together. But if you look at the contract that Ivy's on at $10.1 million a year this upcoming season, it is an expiring deal. It aligns with kind of what both sides are looking for, which is a youthful player, flexibility, but also somebody that may be a better fit than Thomas on this team, while Detroit may be looking at, an upgrade at the scoring spot at the shooting guard to kind of play off of Cade Cunningham and his playmaking abilities. So I link those two together just based on those reports and what I think would make a lot of sense. And then on the Memphis side of things, they just got a haul of picks in return for Desmond Bane. There was reports initially when they traded Bane that they're not done, that they are looking to potentially use some of those picks to move up, whether that was in the draft, which we saw them do, or if it's for another player or an upgrade. I think Thomas is a good fit in Memphis just simply because they have the defensive player or former defensive player of the year in Jaren Jackson, who will be back after his injury. They have Zach Edey, who, is 7'4", can guard the paint. And then they also have Ja as of right now, which Thomas and Ja may not be a great duo specifically, but with the situation going on in Memphis and their lack of winning just based on injury, suspensions, all those types of things, at some point you'd have to think Ja is a player that's going to get moved here in the near future. So if you can add Cam Thomas to that team to kind of pair as a trio with Jaren Jackson and Edey to build out the rest of the roster with whatever they get in return for Ja later on, I think that could also make a little bit of sense. So the two deals that I was looking at, which I also just wrote about on Substack, if you guys want to check that out, the link is on my Instagram story. It's also on Twitter. It's the pin tweet. But the first offer was with Detroit. It's Cam Thomas and Jalen Wilson heading to Detroit, Jaden Ivey, and a top 8 protected 2026 first-round pick heading to Brooklyn. And the Memphis deal was Cam Thomas and Jalen Wilson to Memphis, John Conchard, Gigi Jackson, a 2026 lottery protected first, and a 2028 first-round pick swap. Again, it's hard to kind of tell what the exact value is of Thomas. I see.
Let me ask you a question, though. Let's say we took that from lottery protected to the top 8 protected and took off the pick swap. I'd rather do that. What are your thoughts on that? So you take off the pick swap and then move the protection down from top lottery to top 8 protected.
I think what you're kind of hoping for there is, as of right now, Gigi Jackson and John Contra are nowhere near the players of what Jaden Ivey is, which is why I do have the swap being included in there, because Memphis is kind of on that 50-50 of whether or not they're going to be, a high-end play-in team, a potential playoff team, or if they're going to be bottoming out potentially. So I think the lottery protected pick is kind of just more so, hey, hopefully you make the play-in and you win a game, so this way you're not in the lottery. So that's kind of where I'm thinking of it on that end. But I mean, you could, if Memphis bottoms out and gets that top 8 pick and we have nothing else to show for, right, then that kind of makes us look bad too. So I think with how Memphis's draft capital is and their kind of current situation with trying to build a roster around Ja, at least for this season, I think maybe throwing in the extra first doesn't hurt them.
Let me get Breezy's reaction. So we'll start with the Detroit trade. Give Breezy, run down real quick the Detroit trade. Breezy, what are your thoughts on the trade?
Yeah, it's Cam Thomas and Jalen Wilson to Detroit for Jaden Ivey and a 2026 first-round pick, top 8 protected.
Top 8 protected, so this speaks players. The top 8, that means if it's top 8, they get the pick. If it's 9 and up, we get it?
Yep.
Correct.
I don't know enough about next year's draft to say yes to that.
It's just as good, if not better, than this year's draft, as of right now.
So if we were to get a nice pick next year, we would be good?
By far. Yeah. I mean, if you can get, let's be honest, Cam Thomas in Detroit, with how weak the East is currently and how well they did last year.
They're a top 4 team. Easy.
They're going to be, they're probably, I would say they're a top 6 team, like Orlando, Cleveland, New York. There's a couple of teams, maybe Toronto, Philly, they make a push in there, but yeah, Detroit should be a top 6 team without a doubt. So to me, I would think they're probably in between the pick range of like 19 and 24, which again, not a flashy pick, but if you can get an additional pick in next year's draft with hopefully a top 5 pick of your own, that kind of ends your rebuild right there, at least specifically through the draft.
I would push for a higher lottery pick. You know what I mean? If I was even considering it. And my thing with the Jaden Ivey is, you guys are right about him being a good player, but with him averaging north of 5 assists, you don't think he's going to take the ball out of Nolan hands, Diego hands? Not to say who cares about Ben Surratt, but he's like my least favorite player we drafted. I'm just saying. Yeah. But the first 2, you need the ball in their hands. I don't see a world where Jaden Ivey isn't taking opportunity shots and you know what I'm saying, away from Nolan and Yegor. Like y'all see that them coexisting? Yeah, I don't see how that happens between Ivy, Nolan, and Yegor.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is with Ivy is we've seen him play off ball to Cade, so I don't think there's really an issue with him playing off ball to Yegor and Michael Porter Jr. And the thing with Ivy is he's the same age as Thomas. He is practically the same height as Thomas. But the difference is that he can defend at a very, I wouldn't say high caliber, but definitely above league average caliber for his height and position. And I think that overall he's just a better fit next to a guy like Michael Porter Jr. Again, the goal next year isn't to be a play-in team just yet. It's not to be a playoff team. You're still looking to try and be a bottom 5 team. So this way you can get that top tier pick. So to me, the Ivy for Cam Thomas swap, it's not much of a difference in terms of impact on winning, but long term, is Ivy a more impactful player than Cam Thomas is currently? Potentially. And that's just based on the fact that he could give you 20 points a game. This past season, he gave you 17, and he can also, improve as a defender, which he already is an improvement as a defender over Cam Thomas. So, I just think overall, long term, he's a better fit if you want to keep a guy of that age and skill set on the team long term.
No, I wouldn't bend on that though, bro. I wouldn't bend on the that top 8. I would say top 5, bro. They after all of this shit that I as a content creator, and again, I'm speaking from a fan perspective, not the front office. From a fan perspective, to go through 82 games, recapping it, and having a record like that, I would add minimum to ease my next in soul. Need a top 5, I would say top 3, but I ain't gonna take it there. But top 5 protected lottery pick. Yeah, I need that, bro. The Detroit Pistons, they've been in the lottery, they've been rebuilding for years. That's how they got Ivy, that's how they got Durant, that's how they got Cade Cunningham. They should not be worried about draft picks at all. We should be able to bargain, negotiate a top 3 or a top 5 pick. But that's it. That's all I got. You know what I mean? And like I said, you know what I'm saying? I don't have nothing bad to say about Jaden Ivey. But the Memphis Grizzlies thing with Gigi Jackson, I don't know if Gigi Jackson is the equivalent scorer to Cam Thomas. I feel like the Detroit Pistons is. I don't know. I didn't see enough basketball play from him to agree or disagree. But what I will say is that, what was the lottery pick that we would get from them?
It would be lottery protected, so it would be top 14 protected. Really, it's more so like you have to hope that they make the play-in and win a game, so this way you can get that pick. But if not, then you get the 2028 first-round pick swap. So it's kind of like you're betting. It's kind of like you're betting on a second first.
I mean, I think I could. It would eat. I could deal with the Piston trade, but I wouldn't do that Memphis trade at all. I would say no to the Memphis trade, and I guess I would have to, deal with the Detroit trade. Not that because I don't want it. I want Cam Thomas to be happy here. But if I had to choose between one of the two, I wouldn't choose both trades. I would choose the Piston trade if I had to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm cool with either, personally.
That's the first time. That's number 1 for me. Talking with my muted. So yeah, I mean, Breeze, if you were the GM, if I gave you the GM hat and said you run this team, you would not make either trade. Is that correct?
If I was the GM, I probably would have did a lot of things different. But right now in this situation,
yeah,
right now I would. You know what I'm saying? I would sit down with Cam for one. You know what I mean? And not let social media be the conduit on how we connect with one another. Because I've seen it go bad with Kyrie in the front office. I would have learned my lessons from that, and I would ask him to come in. Like, come sit down with us. You know what I'm saying? Let's try to meet halfway. You know what I mean? I want you to, and also, I want to reflect the good rapport to the free agent.
Maybe losing you, Breeze.
We're losing Breezy a little bit right now. All right. Look, It's interesting. If
But
I
in
was
current players
oh,
and ex-NBA players go through, they're very vocal about the business and how it happens. You know what I'm saying? So I would try to just have a good rapport with players and be very professional as possible. You know, that's what I would do. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately, to answer your question more specifically, I would try to work something out to make Cam Thomas happy. I wouldn't be a fool for him. You understand what I'm saying? I wouldn't just say, you know what I mean? Like you could have everything and nobody gets nothing, just you, and it's only thing that's happening is only about you. You know what I mean? Because he's a player, he's not the whole entire team. But I definitely would try to find a more of a stronger communication connection because right now it seems like you know what I'm saying. They really having conversations.
Yeah, I think his service is cutting
yeah.
out.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, if it was my decision, I think both trades are solid. Like realistically, if you're talking about Cam Thomas not wanting to be here long term, the Nets not wanting to have him here long term, I don't think that it's in the best interest to try and keep this going. But
I've been saying this for a while. Sometimes it's just best to yank the Band-Aid off. He's not going to be here. We don't want him here. Why are we messing around? Why are we playing with our food? Just pull the Band-Aid off. Really, just pull the Band-Aid off and let this be over with. He's not going to be here. They don't want him here. I'm not saying what I want. I'm just reflecting the reality of the matter is that the Nets never wanted him here, don't value him, and if we can get that Detroit Pistons trade for him, I'd make the trade in a heartbeat. The
Can I ask y'all something? Can I ask Gary and Dylan? I want to ask y'all something. Like, how attractive is the Brooklyn Nets outside of having cap space to free agents that want to play here, contingent on what Sean Marks has done with players that came here under his tenure?
Well,
How attractive are we to these players?
Well, realistically, though, the Kyrie thing was the owner, and it was also Kyrie. Both of them were really shitty at what they were doing on both ends of things. So I don't think that really matters. I know you see, yeah.
Who is this guy? Who is this?
That's probably Big Homie's fifth account. Yeah, what's it called? The Kyrie Joe Tsai thing, that was on both of them. That's not Sean Marks. KD, that I'll probably say is more on Sean Marks because he didn't do what was necessary to build the winning team around him. And it seemed like the relationship on their end wasn't the greatest either. Harden, that was Harden, and that was also more so Kyrie, and that's kind of openly been admitted to now. So I don't really blame everything on Marks for that era. What has happened since then, I can kind of say I think is a bit on Marks not trading. I would have personally, I would not have given the Knicks Mikal. I would have just straight up given him to Houston for our picks back. I think that would have been, a better option overall, just with what the return was that you could get back for him. But I can't blame everything on him.
But didn't they have all types of protections on him? And didn't Houston have all types of protections on him? Like,
well, I mean, that's what negotiation is, right? Like, if you really want Mikal Bridges, okay, give us our 25 and 26 pack like you did, and then give us our 2027 back as well. You can add a protection onto it if you want, and then throw in a guy like Jabari and somebody else, and we'll give you a Suns pick included into that. Like that would have, to me, that would have just been a better route if you could have kept more of those Suns picks with you, especially the 2025 one ultimately became a top 10 pick. But yeah, I mean, there was numerous different ways I would have went about that for sure.
If you could have got all your picks back from Houston and we get to reset, yeah, I'd have done that too. If that's possible, I do blame Marks because you're the GM, right?
Like if you do the same exact package to Houston, but you take out the 2025 Suns pick and you get your 2027 pick back with a protection, I mean, I'm doing it every day. You're telling me that we could have had pick 8, pick 10, and then the Sun swap that we have in 2028 or 2029, whatever it is, plus our 2026 and 2027 pick back potentially. Like, yeah, I'm taking that deal over the next picks all day long, without a doubt.
All right. We're kind of winding down here. So you guys breathed out on both trades if it was up to him, but he preferred the Detroit trade. I'm kind of in the same position. Dylan, would you make either one of those trades? Make both of them if you could. Like
I said, with the current situation, if he comes into my office and says, I don't want to be here long term because I feel you don't want me to be here long term, and I'm not going to accept this deal, and I'm prepared to accept the qualifying offer, then yes, I would accept both deals. I think G.G. Jackson has upside. Is he going to be of the same caliber scorer as Cam Thomas? Most likely not. But you're talking about a 6'9" wing who came into the league at 18 years old. I think he's 20 right now. He turns 21 in late October. You know, with his body frame at the wing position, that's something that we kind of need this year. Would I take the risk on that? Yes, especially if it came with the picks attached to it. Jaden Ivey for Cam Thomas, that to me is a perfect swap. You're getting a slightly lesser scorer, but a better defender, and a guy who maybe fits better on this team long term. Yeah, I'm probably going to take that, especially if Cam Thomas says that he doesn't want to be here long term.
That was my next question, because it seems like there's something to that trade, right? Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow or anything, but like there seems Detroit's been interested in Cam Thomas for a while. Jaden Ivey does kind of seem to fit better here in what the Nets are trying to do. That trade seems to have some legs to it. I don't know if those are the exact details, but hey, Jaden Ivey, his role here in Brooklyn, what does that look like?
I think it's kind of a similar role to, what Michael Porter Jr.'s is going to be. Like a veteran presence, but a slightly younger version. I think it's a guy that they can look to improve on, and potentially make into something a bit better than what he currently is. Like Ivy, 7-point difference in scoring per game, but again, just a better defender. So I think the pairing of him with Michael Porter Jr. plus the rookies that we have, I definitely think that's something that fits a bit better long term.
The effort on defense was better last year for Cam Thomas. Recognizing double teams and kicking the ball out was better last year for Cam Thomas. I'm not saying it's good. I'm simply saying it's better. Is there a reason to suspect that Cam Thomas may continue in that direction? It may continue to improve on his weaknesses.
Do I think that he can continue to improve on them?
Do you think he's going to? Yeah.
Probably not.
Breezy?
Yeah, I mean, I think with all of the talking heads like Zach Lowe and, all of these people critiquing his game and more of it being his defense and lack of effort, I think as a professional athlete, he has to cater to that. You know what I'm saying? He can't just be like, oh, I'm a bucket and nothing else matters. This is why I pushed back when they said that's all he do, because he became a better rebounder. And it was, even if it's selfishly, he became a better rebounder so he could be the first one with the basketball. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't offensive rebounds. It was defensive rebounds. He wasn't a great rebounder, but he did improve on the defensive rebounder. And I said that to you, Gary, to say the main thing is he has to focus on, in my opinion, on the defensive side of the ball, is closeouts. When that ball is in motion around the three-point line and they looking for the open shooter and it comes towards Cam Thomas, who he's guarding in the zone or man, he has to be able to contest that three-pointer, run that player off of the three-point line, make him pump fake and do something else. But him with the lazy closeout, that has to get better. The whole league is on notice about his defense, and they saying that his offense is not going to carry his defense. And I think he's going to have to be adamant about, closeouts. I think that's the main knock on it. Even if they I don't know, trying to search for him in a mismatch, that it's a team defense. I think it's irresponsible for the defense to just leave your smallest guy in a one-on-one situation, knowing he's the best scorer on the team. So they're going to hunt him to get him in foul trouble anyway. So that's my thing, too. Don't leave him on an island where he got to foul a guy to stop the guy. Yeah, I need to be having Nick. This is where Nick Claxton needs to earn his keep. You the weak side help. If you see Cam Thomas in a one-on-one situation, you need to deny that. You need to force the ball out of that player's hands or make him shoot over two defenders. So some of it is Cam Thomas. Some of it is his teammates leaving him hung out to dry, for lack of better words. So we'll see, you know what I mean? But to answer your question directly, he has to close out on three-pointers better than he did last year.
All right. I guess we're ready to close out. Any final thoughts, Dylan, Breezy? Any final thoughts here?
I mean, I think if there's to be any form of Cam Thomas real news, not just the back and forth bullshit reports, I think it's going to come within the next week. I mean, what are we at? July 26th? This should not be getting dragged into mid-August. So if it was my guess, I think something gets announced here within the week, whether that's they're going to work with him on a sign and trade, he's accepting the qualifying offer, or they're going to figure out a long-term deal. When I say long-term, I think 2 or 3 years. But
2 years or more. I do want to ask this question. If Cam took the qualifying offer, they say he likes it here in Brooklyn, and he likes Brooklyn. Would he play hardball and decline any trade because he'd have to approve the trade? Would he decline any trade, or it's like, all right, it's my contract. If I get a chance to shine in the playoffs, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna approve any trade where they're shipping me to a playoff team.
I think the only way that works is if it's a team that he wants to go to, and a team that his representation wants him to go to. If you're thinking of it in that sense, his agent is Giannis's agent. Would the only team that he wants to go to is Milwaukee because that's where his representation wants him. That's the team that, may pay him and build around him from when they inevitably trade Giannis Antetokounmpo, whether that's this upcoming offseason or the year following when his contract expires. So, yeah, I mean, would he accept a trade? I'm probably about 90% sure he wouldn't, because I think that if you're going to be disrespected, or at least what he feels is disrespected, then you're going to want to screw the team that's trying to do this to you. So,
but you could end up screwing you're saying you're cutting nose to spite face. You know what I'm saying? You're still screwing yourself.
He's learned from 3 of the pettiest players in basketball.
Yeah, but those guys got paid. You haven't gotten paid yet, homie. You need to get paid.
But Kyrie tried to screw the Nets, and then ultimately got sent to a team that he considerably didn't want to go to, that considerably didn't pay him what he wanted, and is now injured, and still not getting the money that he originally wanted. So, long term, yeah, Kyrie got screwed. He could have accepted that $45+ million 3-4 year deal that we were offering him, which was incentivized. But regardless, play the fucking game. Don't do stupid shit, and stay healthy, and you earn your money. That's how every contract in sports should be. You shouldn't be making money to sit down injured for years like Ben Simmons was, or like Kyrie was. There's incentivized contracts aren't a bad thing. That's not a disrespect towards the player. That's just a business owner saying, do your job, do it correctly, and stay healthy. That's not much to ask for if you really care about the game of basketball, which Kyrie has shown time and time again he doesn't. So, if it was my choice, yeah, you probably want to incentivize the contract if you're going to bring him back for a little bit more money. Make an all-star game. You'll earn an extra $5 million this year. Simple things like that. Play 60+ games. You'll earn an extra $3 million this year. If you want to make it an incentivized contract, I'm all for it if it goes up to $22 million. But put some incentives on it.
Let me get Breezy's take on this. Breezy, if Cam took the qualifying offer, 1 year, $6 million, would he play hardball and decline any trade? I don't think he would, but because it doesn't behoove him long term. It behooves him, to me. The only way he gets that contract he wants is if he goes to the playoffs, scores 20 points a game in the playoffs, and shows that he can score a bunch of points off the bench or in a role in the playoffs. He can legitimately score in the playoffs. To me, that's the only way he gets his $25 million. So would he play hardball and decline any trade to stick it to the Nets, or would he be willing and accept any trade that puts him on a playoff team?
I don't know. I just want to see him play with the rookies. You know what I'm saying? I wanna see some basketball being played, and I just gotta say this. And I'm part of the media, but basketball will forever be bigger than the media, and I don't want even my voice or podcast to be bigger than basketball. Like, I'm here because of basketball. I don't want to get carried away with all of these conversations because I enjoy basketball. You know what I mean? This whole business side of it, I'm learning it. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got, Gary. I'm just waiting for some basketball to be played.
I'm with you. All right. I'm going to close this out. Breezy, go ahead and do a little commercial. Appreciate it. I always appreciate you jumping on, my man.
No, likewise. Shout out to Gary and Dylan. Great show. Y'all can find me at Big Fan Breezy on YouTube or X. And yeah, man, if it's 5 people that ain't subscribed, subscribe, man. I'm at 995. I'm trying to get to 1,000. And y'all probably could find me in the chat. The next show that these guys do, man. It's a great show.
Dylan, when can we come back? When are you free next?
Breeze, you going live tonight?
Yeah, I got dad duty, but I'm gonna try to go live tonight for sure.
All right, I'll keep an eye out for it. I'll try and tune
We're
in.
gonna try to, yeah.
All right, I'll let y'all know.
For sure.
I just got off work. As soon as I come home, I gotta go right back outside for dad duty. So I'm gonna be asleep, man. I'm gonna try to get up and do something though.
Sounds good, man.
Sleep is for the weak, man. No need to sleep. Dylan, when are you free? When are we going live again?
I should be good to go. I mean, I could probably go tomorrow morning, but there's really not much to talk about. Let's shoot for sometime Monday. We'll talk.
All right. Sounds good, y'all. All right. Dylan, Breezy, it's a pleasure. It's July 26, 2025 from Texas to the world. Thank y'all. God bless.